Hey guys, it's West here, back with another episode of From the Crumbs, back on the Crushed Cookie account, of course. And we've got some updates to share with you guys. Firstly, we've done TOA summons, we've done some other summons. We did the Amazon summons. We got a Huahi, so nothing super amazing, but we got a Huahi, which is nice because I've been waiting forever to use those Sky Dancer transmogs. So eventually we're going to be building her up for our Necro team. And probably not raids because we have various other units that I have some plans for. I have been building up some monsters for my initial R3 or R4 team, which is, I think, pretty interesting because it's going to be nice getting into raids, because this will be the first time on any account that I've ever really started to build a team dedicated to raids. Of course, I'm not super concerned with raids just yet because I still feel like my runes could be better just by obtaining better runes from giants, but having one there and ready to go doesn't hurt in my opinion. So we're clearing out some wings and some energy really quickly just because I like to stay efficient, and I did just get off of the giveaway account because that's what I do in the morning. I wake up, giveaway account, this account, and then the Leica account, and then throughout the day I periodically switch through my different accounts in order to run through the energy, because that's the only way you could really keep up with it and try to be as efficient as possible when it comes to clearing stuff out. So there's some units that I've been building in the background, not talking a lot about, but have just messed around with because they're fun or because I wanted to experiment and see how they would perform. One of which is Raok. So a while back I was in Giants for Dragon Speed 10 for about a month, playing around with the speed team that wasn't super consistent. And of course, you guys know or may know that the result was not perfect just because my rune quality isn't where I like it to be or where I would like it to be, and my towers aren't maxed. So I'm missing out on a lot of potential speed, like 9% speed, because I think my tower is plus 6% speed right now. So essentially like 9 or 10% speed from the speed tower. I'm missing a bunch of crit damage from the crit damage tower. Just small things that when compiled together will add up to reduce the potential that my team has for success. And I realize there's a lot of other factors too. My runes aren't where they need to be, of course. And some of my monsters weren't skilled up all the way, and I understand that. I wasn't trying to really push the envelope as much as I was trying to just test to see if it's possible with the units I was using, where I was at in the game. And it was, but with 70%, 80% success rate, not being at that 90% that I wanted it to be, I didn't feel like it was worth all the crystals and the energy that I would be spending, in game and in real life, of course, farming it. Especially if it wasn't going to provide me with the results I was looking for. So, of course, we hop back into Giants, and we have been farming in Giants since then. I got a few runes recently in the past day or two, which I'm, pretty happy to see. We're going to power up one rune on stream today. No, we're gonna do it in this video instead. Today is Thursday for those of you watching this at a later date, which is now when I'm heading back to streams, which is another announcement I wanted to make on this video. We are coming back to streams on Thursday. The Fire Academy thing that I've been going to ended last week, so that means I'm all back. I'm all yours, guys. So I'll be streaming every Thursday again at, I'm probably going to be doing, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. or 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. I might pull back the schedule even more and starting it a little bit earlier. So, yeah. Other things notable on this account. Let's go straight into the monster box because there's some units. Actually, let's go ahead and do our wish too. So, those of you may remember, or who have been watching the series for a while may remember, I talked about the Paladins a while back, and I talked about how much I love the Light Paladin for TOA because she's got a lot of potential. And so a while back I fused her, and now here we go. Fast forward a bit, we can check out her skill ups. So she's missing a few skills on her first skill, but luckily the Devilmon all went into her second and third skill first, which was crazy. So she is now max skilled on her second and third skill, and then just needs skill ups for harmful effect rate on her first skill, but I'm not super concerned with that. And here are her stats. Her runes aren't maxed, but I think her defense is good. I would like to see another 5,000 to 6,000 HP. And of course, her accuracy is the max for TOA. So she's on a Violent Revenge build. I'm super excited about this. Like I said, the runes aren't max, so she has more defense to gain, more HP to gain. And some of these runes could be better. We see a lot of defense in these subsets, 23%, 21%. We could have a lot better stats on this rune. And of course this rune as well could have defense percent, but you can see the runes are pretty okay. The only problem I have is there's a few runes that have a little crit rate, which is really annoying for some stages of TOA. But she's on Violent Revenge, which means she can AoE provoke or AoE and just proc away with her first skill and heal your team. She can she has a revenge, so when she provokes for 2 turns, which is crazy, I can't stress that enough. It's 2-turn provoke is nuts in TOA, unless of course they have cleansers. Like Juno, who will cleanse their team if they have multiple harmful effects. But AoE provoke for 2 turns, and then instantly gets another turn, and then she can make herself invincible. And then when they attack her, she can revenge because she's got the revenge runes, which means she'll heal an ally, and then has a small chance to stun in addition to that. Like, I mean, there's so much stuff going on. Really, really happy with this unit so far. I played a little bit with her in TOA hard. She's really fun. It's really fun to play with her. It's really fun to have a violent rune, so that when you're doing something like TOA, and for me TOA is very tedious, I could see violent proc, so I could get a little bit of enjoyment from seeing her violent proc away, which makes the game a little bit more fun for me. So I've been messing around with her in TOA. You guys may remember I was talking about fusing my next 5 Veros. And these are just going to be skill ups, but as I get these units, as I get the monsters for it, since I have all these 4-star Rainbow Mon, and I'll show you guys my storage in a minute, I need something to sink them into because they're really clogging up my storage and monster box, and I don't want to waste all that mana on upgrading my monster box because I've got, like, I think it's over 100 3-star max Rainbow Mon, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12... 13 because there's 2 at the bottom, so 13 times 5 is 65, so 65 Rainbow Mon, and I just recently went through and cleared a whole bunch out and made a bunch of 5 stars, so I've got a ridiculous amount of Rainbow Mon sitting there that all need to be maxed out, and don't get maxed out because I don't buy packs. So we had Amazon sponsor summon, something I recorded, but it's not really worth going through all the effort to edit it into the video because it was nothing fancy. In the Amazon summons. No Lux, still no Lucian. And we did, however, get a Huahi who's sitting here with her transmog, her cute beach girl transmog. So that was a plus side to it. We pulled another Lisa. That was cool. She's probably going to end up being a skill up, so she's probably going to get 5-starred and used as a skill up for this Lisa, because of course we're going to be using our Lisa in raids, and she does very much so need to be max skilled. You may see a Darien sitting here. He is probably going to be one of my frontliners for my raid team. Like I said, I'm building up the monsters. I don't really have the runes that I would like to use on them just yet, and so I'm not fully done with that. Right before this video, it is the last day of the month, or the 24th day of the month, so we do get our LD scroll. I summoned it, got a Light Golem. Pretty exciting. Light Golem's a really fun unit. I feel like there's not many places in the game where it's like, oh, Light Golem, he's insane, use him at this part of the game or anything. Sometimes in Guild War defense, possibly eventually in arena defense. I just think he's a really fun unit to play with more than anything. He's got this passive where damage won't exceed his max HP, so giving him a stupid amount of HP, putting him on whatever, like Vampire Revenge is the ideal build for him, just so he has stupid survivability. Or Vampire and Destroy, so that in Guild War defense he never dies and he has this whatever, he slowly breaks your HP. So he's got some cool stuff going on with him. I think he's a really interesting unit, and I look forward to building him someday, no time soon. Storage-wise, not too much to say. Oh, did I get this girl a while back? I have 2 Boomerang Warriors now. That might be a little bit notable. But still no Chakram Dancers, so we don't, and not to mention we don't even have the ones that we necessarily want. I guess the water one is pretty good, but of course I want the fire Chakram Dancer to pair with the water Boomerang. Apparently that's a pretty strong combination for dragons, or so I've heard and seen a little bit of in some other content creators' videos, because I mean they've got really good damage output when you pair them correctly and use them in your teams. Also, Raok, I did mention him as well. He's on a violent set just for me to screw around and play with, not for any real purposes. I occasionally use him in Guild Siege. Like I said, I am in a farming guild. I mentioned that a few episodes back. So I do get to mess around a little bit. I mean, but Guild Wars like this, it's like it's not even fair. And very occasionally, I feel a little bit bad about some of this. But then I remember, I'm farming. And they're probably farming too, so by being in a guild, they're getting something, right? So we're going to go ahead and clear these defenses. And if I lose when I'm one-manning these, I absolutely deserve it, and they deserve all the points they would get. But units like Rakan, like I built him up a while back, and it sucks because I haven't really had a real reason to use him, and he's still not exactly where I want him to be, but he is on will, which was the most important thing. And typically with units, I don't stress the importance of sets, or in the very beginning of the game, you want to have sets. Once you get to, mid-game, or once you start farming like giants and whatever, it doesn't matter about sets, it's all about stats. But there are some units in the game where it's like, okay, having a set on that unit is very, very important. And Rakan is one of those units where if you're not going to put all that extra speed into him, which you usually don't want to, because you kind of want the enemy to lap you, and you want to focus everything into HP, defense and all that kind of stuff, then you want to put him on, a will set, because if they defense break you right off the bat, then you're done. You're going to lose your Rakan because they're probably bringing a counter for him. So having him on will, it just feels so right. So it's nice to have him on will finally, because it feels like he has a lot more usability now. Then there's our Raok. There's our Raok. Our tiny little bit of enjoyment comes from smashing people who just joined the game. Man, that sounds terrible. It sounds terrible out loud. It sounded a lot better in my head. So we're going to go ahead and just clear out these guild wars. Typically, this is stuff I would do off camera. I do a lot of things off camera, between the farming and the grinding in different areas of the game, and of course Guild Wars and Guild Siege, I do all that off camera. But I figure let's add a little bit of content to this episode that I don't normally. So here's what I do daily. Sometimes it's kind of boring. You just get on, you farm through your Guild Wars, you get your points, you get your weekly Angelmon, and then you work toward getting your next Ifrit. Then of course I'd go to Guild Siege and clear all that out. I'm not going to do all that Guild Siege stuff, and it's not even available right now. And then what I would do is I'd hop right into Giants. And so this is still my Giants team, and I have managed to get Hraesvelg moving before the Ifrits, but it actually slowed down my team. And the reason I believe that this ended up slowing down the team is because every time a unit takes a turn, right, and that allocates a certain amount of time for their animation and whatever, and nobody by any means has a really slow animation per se, but every time any unit attacks, it's increasing the time that it takes to clear all this, right? And so if Hraesvelg isn't doing enough when he takes his turn, then essentially his turn is a waste. And by having Vero and Amir move before Hraesvelg, I was allowing the damage dealers that really do the bulk of the damage to go in and do their thing. And now what I think is happening is sometimes Hraesvelg's attacks are a tiny little bit redundant. And so as a result, we lose a little bit of time. But we gained a little bit of efficiency, I feel like. Because you saw Galleon didn't use the third skill there. And it's okay. He used the first skill. We still got the defense break. And then Hraesvelg came in with that speed buff and attack buff. So we get a little bit more consistency in terms of our amount of times that we clear. And that was a pretty perfect boss stage, but you'll see it's a 1/16 time, and we don't really hit those sub 1 minute times as much anymore. And that could be because Hraesvelg needs some damage. I definitely agree that he does. He lost a little bit of crit damage in the swap over to these faster runes, but it gave us some consistency. Also still looking for a reason to take out Charlotte. I was thinking of Arang, the Wind Ninetails, for a little bit, just because her skill got buffed a while back, and I didn't even realize till recently. Her third skill now is essentially doing the same thing, of course it's single target, as Amir's third skill, where the more negative effects that are on the enemy, the more damage she does, and her multipliers are large, and her base attack is pretty huge. So she could put out massive numbers in Giants. She could, I think it's like 100k with like the 7 or 8 debuffs. So compared to Amir's like 60k AoE, I think that's pretty good. Especially on the mid boss stage, we could see a little bit there. Although I'm not sure how many negative effects we put on the mid boss on average. Probably around 3. So it still might help with the additional attack buff, defense, attack break, defense break, and attack speed slow. So I was thinking about building her. The thing is, the second I do that, I'm going to have to put Hraesvelg and Amir onto runes that actually give them a sufficient amount of crit rate, which wouldn't be too bad anyways, because they lose a lot of usability in things like Guild Wars and even Arena sometimes by not having enough crit rate, or requiring some kind of crit rate lead in order for them to work properly. So that may be coming in the future. Of course, if I do that, I feel like they're going to lose a lot of crit rate, but being as there's only 3 units total in this team benefiting from Charlotte's leadership skill anyways, I'm not sure how bad the harm will be. Now that Vero's in the team and we don't have a 4th unit that's Wind, I feel like the Charlotte leadership skill is slightly wasted. Of course, we have Galleon here, so he's not getting any benefit from it, and Galleon's damage output is kind of non-existent anyways. Or if he does damage, it's because he has attack buff and the enemy has a defense break. It's not because he's getting some sort of crit leadership skill or anything like that. And yeah, she'll provide the Wind leadership skill as well, having Orang in the team, which I think will be more beneficial than the crit leadership skill, because of course the crit leadership skill isn't directly increasing the damage. Of course, it increases the damage by us being able to stack more crit damage on our units, but I feel like the attack leadership skill will result in bigger numbers if we can manage to pull off the rune sets that we probably should be able to pull off at this point in the game. So I'm going to be playing around with some runes in the upcoming weeks in order to see if I can make that possible. I don't think there were any other wind units that I was looking at building for Giants in particular. Wind units in general, though, I've been looking at my Wind Monkey, another unit that I've been considering for my raid team, just because he can sometimes revenge and do some extra damage on the boss, which is nice. Also, his multipliers are pretty good, and just the nature of the monkey is to build him pretty tanky. Of course, I want to get him to like 25k HP, give him a lot of survivability for all that stuff in raid. But he wouldn't be used in Giants because I don't know why I would put Monkey in Giants. He's too slow. His damage numbers wouldn't be massive without taking away from his kit as a whole, and his passive is almost essentially useless because the enemy shouldn't be attacking our team anyways. If they are, that means that our speed team isn't efficient. And you can see that even the fact that the enemies have a full enough attack bar to take a turn sometimes, except for, of course, the mid-boss at the mid-boss wave, is a little bit inefficient. But it's not like it's causing us any losses. Of course, the only way to make this team faster, really, by keeping the same monsters, would be to get better runes, and that's about it. Because it's not like I have a leadership skill to swap around, because the Veramos leadership skill isn't going to increase our damage, and no one else on the team has a leadership skill that means anything for Giants. Now, other units that would be decent. I thought about Orochi very, very briefly. He provides the dots, but we get enough dots between Hraesvelg, Vero, and Amir, and it's not like we're bringing the dots in order to mitigate our lack of damage. We'd be bringing the dots to hopefully get more damage from Amir, but if we brought in Orochi, then I feel like we'd be even more stressed or even more pushed toward bringing in Orang to really take advantage of all that, but I just think it would end up really weird in the end. So there's not really any other units, because you can see Orochi. He's got good multipliers, don't get me wrong. He's got the attack bar reduction, which helps for consistency, but we don't care about these extra dots, right? So essentially from one turn rotation, if everyone uses their first skill, Hraesvelg puts on 2 dots, Amir and Vero both put on 1 dot, so we're not getting too much out of that. And we've looked at the Wind Monkey a little bit. I mean, so it decreases the inflicted damage, yeah, and he counterattacks when attacked, yeah. Not super useful in Giants. He recovers his own attack bar, and he's got an extra defense break with 100% chance, but I don't think that really brings in too much. It might give us consistency. I could be wrong. We will be awakening him today. It is the wind day, and I did farm some wind essence for him, but that wasn't the purpose of awakening him. Also, very briefly, to talk about the Devilmon situation, because we have doubled up Jeanne. As much as I care to for the time being, I don't think it's worth it to get the slightly higher stun chance that isn't even super consistent to give her those extra 2 Devilmons. So Devilmons might go to Wind Monkey going forward, because like I said, is a unit I want to play with. And he's a Nat 5, and I need to start doubling up my Nat 5s and stop worrying about niche Nat 4s that I'm using. Chiwu not getting any Devils anytime soon. He's still on his Despair set. I'm playing around with Hua a tiny bit. You shouldn't mind her runes, because I'm doing something weird that I don't even fully understand with her. I'm going to be fusing my extra Veros for skill ups coming down the road. We're going down in the next few weeks. That's why I have all these extra skill ups as well. I also have some JoJo fusion food, just in case I happen to get a Lucian. Here's hoping. So we farmed through all of TOA normal, and we're going through TOA hard now, running this team, if anyone is curious. That's my 0 crit rate, speed HP Lapis right there. Of course, 0 crit rate. The goal of this Lapis is just for the Artemail floor. That's the main reason why I built her. She's good in other places too. She's got a lot of CC, and her speed isn't awful. It's not amazing. But 175 speed, that's not terrible. She's got accuracy, of course, because we're all about getting that attack bar reduction and hopefully some stuns along the way too. She also provides a defense break, which is sometimes it helps us eke out a little bit more damage on those boss stages. But this is currently our team. We've got 2 forms of daughters. We've got 4 people on the team who can provide stuns, 3 of which are Despair units. So that's not too bad. That's currently our team right now. We've been running some Rift of Worlds for this current event that gives us points for the Ancient Shop. This is my Ice Beast. I'll go ahead and run it in case people don't believe me or they think that I'm doing something else weird. I don't know. So this is my team right now, except instead of Faye, I typically have Vero in the team, because Vero gets more damage output from the 2 speed buffs that I have in the team. Faye can be nice because, of course, the only enemy that she can target with her 3rd skill is the boss, but of course we're just hoping for her to proc that ignore defense, or else her damage output isn't as impressive. Although all of her damage does become relevant as opposed to Vero, and what I mean by that is Vero has his 2nd skill, which is kind of irrelevant. Doesn't really do any damage output or have any damage output whatsoever. But this team isn't too bad. It hit the 2.3 million damage score, which was an A or A+. So I've only been doing this for the purpose of the challenges, although in the process I have been gathering a lot of these ice crystals or water crystals. Those are going to be used to make my homunculus eventually, because after you of course craft the fire homunculus, you need to use even more crafting material in order to change its element. So I'm essentially going to need 600 crystals, I believe that is, because it's 400 fire crystals, 200 of these ice or water, whatever, and then 200 wind for the fire homunculus, and of course the rare crystals, the condensed magic crystals. And then once you fuse, or once you change attribute, I believe, to the water one, I'm going to need 400 in this category and then 200 in the others. It depends on the element. You have to pay 200 more for whatever element you're changing it to, and that's I believe that's what's going to be going on. So having these extra crafting materials doesn't hurt. Also, they're used for re-ups. I wish I had a wind team that works. I know for a wind team all you really need is 4 healers, some sort of cooldown reducer, and then a small, some form of damage would help. But I'm not super worried about farming these teams yet. I'm not building units specifically for this just yet. I'm still working on getting runes. I did, with the Amazon coins, get, I think it was the Summoning Stone pack. I believe that's what I got, was the Summoning Stone pack, and that's where I got my Huahi. And as a result of getting that pack, I got all these extra crystals. So if anyone was curious why I had all these extra crystals, that's why. I'm also getting a fairly significant amount of crystals from Guild Siege. Of course, not as much as I could be getting before the recent patch, which essentially nerfed being in small guilds because you can't receive more than 30% of the total contribution. But I do get about 100 to 140 guild points and 100 to 140 crystals every Guild Siege, which has been contributing to my large amount of crystals. Don't get me wrong, a few days ago I had 3,000 crystals. I have been farming seriously in hopes of, getting better runes. And that leads me to the closer of this video, which is this rune. Where you at, buddy? Right here, that I got yesterday. Max crit rate, max crit damage, one lower than max accuracy. I mean, this rune is kind of nuts. This rune, if it rolled correctly, right? Don't get me wrong. I know I could go triple HP and then it's done, right? But if this rune rolled correctly, it could be like an end game rune, right? You grind out the HP for speed, and then it's usable on like a ridiculous amount of damage dealers. So I saw it, and these runes are really intimidating, right? Because you see right now it's double rolled into accuracy, which if it max rolls into crit rate and then max rolls into crit damage right here, could be beautiful, but it sucks because you get runes like this, and it's like, even if you get lucky enough to pull the best runes in the world, right, or the best legendary runes with all the substats you want, it could still just roll absolutely terribly and it absolutely ruin your day. Which, at points in the game it is demoralizing because you spend forever grinding for runes you want, and then you get the runes you want, and then after you get the runes you want, you have to hope that it rolls the way you want it to. And, it never is going to roll exactly the way you want it to, so you're just going to have to find a place to make the rune fit somewhere in the game. So, it's still a usable rune, don't get me wrong. It's just kind of awkward now, because I was hoping that it would roll again into crit rate or crit damage, even if it rolled again into accuracy, because I wouldn't feel as bad about enchanting out the HP. The thing that sucks is we had a 5 roll into accuracy, a 5 roll into crit damage, and then a 6 roll into HP, so we got, pretty mediocre rolls, except for the second accuracy roll, which was just an 8%, but this would probably be used on maybe a Fae eventually, because I do want the higher chance of stripping, or even the water Kung Fu Girl. Other units, there's not too many that can use her. The thing is, or use that rune, because fatal runes without speed, I can't really use it on Stella, can't use it on Chillin, can't use it on any really, really typical damage dealers. It also has accuracy, because usually damage dealers that I use that want accuracy, Stella, Chilling, even units like Charlotte, Faye, where accuracy helps them out, they want speed as well, because they want to be able to get off whatever damage or whatever effects they have more often. So here's Faye. Faye hasn't gotten changed too much. She lost some attack for some crit damage a little while back, but she gained a little crit rate in the process, which is nice because her consistency has been up. Last Sunday, Fighter 3 finish, and that's about it for this video. There's not too much else to mention. Like I said, not sure about the Devilmon situation yet, but I'm going to be fusing these extra Veros, and looking for more wind units to maybe mess around with in Giants. So if you guys have any recommendations for units to play with, units to build, you guys have seen my storage and my monster box. I'm always my ears are always open to recommendations, so if you have any, always be sure to leave them in the comment section below. If you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and like the video, please. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Hey guys, it's West again. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe for more.